Question. 3 frogs are sitting on a log. One of them decides to jump off. How many frogs are left on the log? Answer, 3. Just because one frog decides to jump doesn't mean he actually does it. See, step 3 is about making a decision to give God control over our lives. We've spent our entire existence learning the art of self-preservation, building a protective wall around ourselves, looking out for number 1, and relying on ourselves alone because nobody else was willing to step up and take responsibility for us. The prospect of releasing control over to God, an entity that we can't see, touch, or hear, defies every single survival instinct we've ever developed. I mean, trust me when I say this step took me some time to get through. And when the opportunity to work step 3 presented itself, 2 things popped into my mind. First, early on in my disease, I made a conscious decision to walk away from God. Now, this may sound a little strange, but I distinctly remember having a conversation with God about it. Now, it wasn't an audible exchange, but a very real spiritual back and forth of ideas between me and God. And during this conversation, God said, "Hey, you're walking in darkness. I can't dwell in darkness. If you choose to continue down this path, you're gonna have to walk alone without me." And I thought, so what's the big deal, right? I mean, billions of people walk alone every day all over the world. How hard could it be? Well, I was soon to figure that out. Yes, billions of people walk alone without the light of God every day. This is true. It also happens to be true that billions of people lead lonely, miserable, pain-filled lives without the hope of a reprieve. And for the first time in my life, I felt totally alone and vulnerable. Secondly, my life was falling apart in direct proportion to the decisions I was making. I was miserable, and my best thinking was what got me there. Left to my own devices, I had managed to entirely destroy any hope of a happy life. The time had come for me to hand over control of my life to someone with a better grip on reality than me. In short, my very survival was at stake. I was forced to admit that something had to change. Now, change is a scary thing. Nobody likes change. I mean, as human beings, we seek consistency. We spend our entire lives developing complex habits so that our lives will follow easy and predictable patterns. We understand that the disruption of these patterns will result in the need for decision-making and complex thought process. In other words, change equals work. Ugh. But if our life isn't working, something has to change. But don't sweat it. We're just deciding to do the work at this point, not actually doing it yet. Making that decision is what step 3 is all about. Okay, time for some step work. Take out a piece of paper and answer these questions. What stands in your way of trusting God? Was there ever a time in your life where you felt the presence of something bigger than you? If so, what happened? What would it take for you to fully trust in your higher power? Answer these questions, and then I encourage you to continue with the step work connected with this video. Now, let's take a big step toward God and say the 3rd step prayer together. Lord, I'm learning that there is an awful lot I can't do. I can't control life the way I'm used to. I can't make people be what I want. I can't stop the pain inside me. I can't even fully submit to your plan yet. I'm still too frightened of you. But I know there is one thing I can do right now. I can make a decision to turn my will and life over to you. Making the decision doesn't mean I have to make it happen. Making the decision doesn't mean I understand your plan. Making the decision doesn't even mean I'm entirely willing. But it does mean that I know your way and will is right. Lord, turn my simple decision into reality. Amen. Okay, so step 3 is a decision step, not an action step. We're not jumping off the log, just making a decision to jump. The actual plunge will follow in the next steps. So, Take a minute to make your decision to turn your will and life over to the care of God. Once you've made that firm decision, you've made peace with God. Now the real work begins, making peace with yourself. See you in step 4.